Alright there people, this is Brother back again with another video, and we are going to be predicting some Premier League scores for this weekend's games. After the international break has gone, we are back with Premier League action. And we start off with the North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham at the Emirates. This is one of three interesting derbies this weekend. Both sides are unbeaten. It's played the biggest North London derby in years. If Arsenal win, they go 4 points clear at the top of the table, 4 points clear of Tottenham. And I think Arsenal fans will hope that Man United win so they can stay top of the Premier League come the end of the weekend. As for Spurs, they won 6-2 in their last game against Leicester, who are conceding goals for fun at the moment. In my prediction, I think it will be Arsenal who continue their unbeaten start to the season. I'm going to say 3-1 to the Gunners. The next game is between managerless Bournemouth and Brentford. This game was played in the 2021 playoffs. Of course, Brentford were successful in their way to the final. Bournemouth did get an impressive draw at the richest club in the world, Newcastle, in their last game, and have one of the worst goal differences in the Premier League. They've only won once so far this season. Oh no, sorry, they've won twice so far this season. Can they get a home win this time round against Brentford? I don't think so. I think Brentford are going to respond after losing 3-0 at home to Arsenal. I'm going to say a 2-0 win for the Bees. So, coming up next in the Premier League is Graham Potter's first game as the new Chelsea manager. Yes, I know he won managing the Champions League, but this is his first Premier League game away at Crystal Palace, the big rivals of his former club Brighton. And I think Graham Potter is going to get off to a winning start. I don't think it will be a convincing victory, but I think Chelsea are going to go to Selhurst Park and just take a 1-0 win. Probably a second half Aubameyang goal. Next, it's Fulham who've impressed in the Premier League. They hosted the richest club in the world, Newcastle, who were frustrated by another newly promoted side in Bournemouth. They beat Nottingham Forest. They were held to a draw by Bournemouth. How will they get on away to Fulham? This is going to be a very, very difficult one to predict. I do think Newcastle are going to edge this one though. I am going to go with a 2-1 win for the Geordies at Craven Cottage. Liverpool host Brighton in De Zerbi's first game in charge as Seagulls boss, as he replaces Graham Potter. But Brighton find themselves fourth in the Premier League, which is probably a big shock, and Liverpool are currently 8th in the Premier League after a bit of a stuttery start to the season. But for me, I think Liverpool are going to come away with all 3 points this time around at Anfield. A comfortable 2-0 win and a bit of a learning curve for their new Italian manager. Next, we've got Southampton hosting Everton. This is another difficult game to predict. Southampton have got a decent record. They won the last 2 matches by 2-0 against Everton. And can you see it changing this time round? Maybe. I think it's a really hard one to predict. You don't know which Southampton are going to turn up. Southampton, who beat teams like Chelsea and Leicester. Or Southampton, who were so disappointing in their performance away to Aston Villa in their last game before the international break. Wasn't particularly anything exciting. They haven't played a home game since beating Chelsea, actually. So I think this is going to be a very, very tricky game. But I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I think it might be a high-scoring one too. I don't think either side have the best of defences. I'm going to say 2-2 at St Mary's for this one. And last but not least, on Saturday, West Ham United host Wolves. There's been a bit of pressure on David Moyes, which has actually kind of surprised me. I think with what he's done, he's taken West Ham to new levels. He's taken them to Europe, back-to-back seasons. They reached the semi-finals of the Europa League last year, and I thought they did really, really well. Of course, it's going to be very difficult to juggle Europe and the Premier League as well. They picked up 4 points. They did lose away to Everton. I do think he deserves a lot more time. It is 18 versus 17, so the winner will move out of the bottom 3. Of course, the loser will drop into the bottom 3. I'm going to back West Ham to win this game by 2-1 at the London Stadium in Saturday's 5:30 kickoff. 2 games on Sunday, the Manchester derby. This is a big one, of course. Pep Guardiola taking on one of his old apprentices in Erik ten Hag. And who can stop the machine in Erling Haaland? I don't think Manchester United are going to be able to handle him, I'm afraid. I really, really hope that they can keep him pocketed or whatever. You know, I wanted to sign Haaland, so I'm a bit salty towards that, I will admit that. But it's our job to try and contain him. But can we? I don't think we will be able to. I don't think we will be outplayed as we were last season, but I do think we are going to be defeated. I do think it will be a bit of a goal fest. I'm going to go for a 4-2 win for Manchester City. I think it will be a competitive one, but I think City will just have way too much for United in the end of the day. And as much as it pains me to say that, and I really hope I'm wrong, I'm backing Manchester City to win this game 4-2. The game after that is Leeds against Aston Villa. Now, in 2019, there was an interesting clash in the Championship between these two sides, both going for promotion to the Premier League. And, Leeds scored a goal while, I think it was Albert Adom, no, it wasn't Albert Adom, it was Codger at the time, was taken down by Liam Cooper. The referee played on while the Villa player was down injured and refused to put the ball out of play for the Villa player to be treated. And Leeds just carried on and went on to score. And Aston Villa were furious. There was fights, there was scraps. It was all kicking off. Stewards had to intervene. It was one of the most bizarre moments in football history between the two clubs. And Marcelo Bielsa, who was boss at the time, allowed Aston Villa to score an equaliser as a part of fair play. Both dugouts had different managers. It was Dean Smith in charge of Villa at the time. This time it's Jesse Marsh and Steven Gerrard. But funnily enough, it's the same referee as that 2019 massacre between Leeds and Villa. Stuart Atwell is the man in charge for that one. So I wonder if history will repeat itself this weekend. I don't think it will. But in terms of prediction, I think Villa are going to back up their 1-0 win of Southampton with another win. I'm going to say Leeds 1, Aston Villa 2. Leeds haven't played since losing 5-2 at Brentford, so I don't think Jesse Marsh will be on the touchline. He might be, who knows. And last but not least, Monday's game is between the Premier League's bottom club Leicester, who've only picked up 1 point from their opening 7 matches, against their East Midland rivals Nottingham Forest, who are second from bottom in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest, of course, made over 20 transfers, and they lost the last 2 matches by 3-2 against Bournemouth and Fulham. I think this one, if Leicester lose this game, I think Brendan Rodgers is going to lose his job. I think, you know, there is a point where you have to look and say, I think it's time for a change. I think if they lose this one, I don't think there's any way back for him. But I do think he will stay in his job, because I think Leicester are going to win by 2-0 against Nottingham Forest on Monday night. Please let me know what your score predictions are for the weekend's games. This has been Brad the Lad. I'll see you all in a bit. Bye-bye.